¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos?
Welcome to the show. This is your first time. However, we've had Anahita before here with us.
Yes, thank you for having me again.
Well, you've been here with us before talking about what's happening in the Muslim community, and I can see that now you brought a guest with you. Can you tell us about the partnership, the CAIR, We're All America partnership?
We are leading the work in California with organizing and advocacy work for refugees and asylum seekers, and we really believe in partnerships in bringing together the refugee and the Muslim community. So our partnership with CAIR is very important since they're a Muslim-based organization working within the Muslim community, and we're trying to bridge that gap with the refugee immigrant community and the Muslim community, because we know that these are ethnic minorities that are often disenfranchised. So I want to pass it on to you to talk a little bit about what CAIR does and our partnership that we have.
My name is Fayez. I'm the Policy and Advocacy Manager at the Council on American Islamic Relations LA office. CAIR is the largest civil rights organization that predominantly serves the American Muslim community. In our office alone, we have a staff of over 30 individuals, and we serve not only the American Muslim community, but also the broader community. So we have an Immigration Rights Center in our office, also a Civil Rights Department, a Policy Department, and our Immigration Rights Center actually serves many folks from the broader community. I would say about 60 to 70% of our clients are actually from the Latino community, and we help folks become citizens. We help them really seek asylum. We help them with whatever paperwork process they're dealing with. We help mitigate a lot of the concerns and a lot of the cost that's associated with those challenges that they deal with. Our Civil Rights Department deals with a lot of the civil rights cases in the LA area. So anything that deals with hate crimes, bullying at schools, work discrimination that folks are dealing with, visits from the FBI or DHS, our Civil Rights Department really deals with that issue. My department, the Policy and Advocacy Department, what I do is I work on legislation, helping to write legislation, and then helping to advocate for certain pieces of legislation, either for or against those pieces of legislation.
And you do this legislation at the local, at the state, at the federal level? Is there one particular that you are focusing more than others?
So we do work at the municipal, state, and federal level. Okay. So we work on a lot of city, local, municipal issues like sanctuary cities, like dealing with ordinances at school boards that really try to help us mitigate a lot of the school bullying that's happening at schools. We also work at the state level. One of the key legislations we worked on recently was the police use of force bill. That was one of our key legislation. And then we're going to be going on and talking a little bit about the federal legislation that we're working on later on in this segment.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being part of this show. And how did the partnership come to be? Did you guys, how do you guys meet, for example?
Yeah. Well, so We're All America was actually created a couple years ago when this administration was introduced. We saw that there was a gap between immigrants' rights organizations and faith-based organizations and refugee-focused organizations. So We're All America is really this, I call it like the glue to the puzzle, trying to bridge these different gaps between different immigrant groups. So you have your Latinos, your Muslims, your refugees, immigrants, TPS holders, right? These are different groups, and often we work in silos versus together as part of one movement. So that's really what we're trying to do, is bring together these different immigrant groups and really work together. So CAIR is one of our local partners, along with CHIRLA and International Rescue Committee, really just trying to bridge the different silos that we have in order to, you know, move forward with our progressive agenda that we have for all immigrants, regardless of your status. So this partnership is very dear to me. You know, as a Muslim woman, you know, I appreciate all the work that CAIR does for our Muslim community and beyond.
And I've noticed that you also host events together. I got the opportunity to attend one that you put together not too long ago.
Yeah, we had one a few months ago, and Fayez was very dear and was able to present on that panel. You know, we talked about different the topics as far as asylum and refugee issues and how they're so interconnected within different immigrant groups. And we're also hosting an event together later in September, a time for Ilhan film screening. So, you know, just to highlight, you know, members of Congress that are elected who are Muslim, who are women of color, who were elected and are, you know, unfortunately in this
former refugees,
right? And it's been a little bit tough in this anti-Muslim community and you know climate that we have right now. But we're really trying to uplift those voices.
Thank you so much. I believe that you're doing the work just being here. We'll be right back with these commercials.
¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos?
Welcome back. We're talking about our Muslim community here at CHIRLA TV. And I wanted to touch base on something that has been taking place for the past couple of years. There is this, essentially, this whole demonization of the Muslim community, this whole rhetoric, anti-Muslim rhetoric. And can we touch base on what those implications look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know, as we know, since this new administration, we've had anti-immigrant rhetoric, anti-Latino, anti-Muslim. And so, you know, about 2.5 years ago, Trump implemented the Muslim travel ban, which essentially bans 5 Muslim-majority countries, immigrants and non-immigrants from entering, including Iran, Syria, Yemen, Somalia, and Libya, and then also officials from Venezuela, and then also North Korean citizens. Unfortunately, this has put such a strain on the Muslim community because families are separated, refugees are banned from entering the countries, and you know, personally, I'm affected by this. My relatives are not able to come visit me. You know, there are relatives that have been petitioned for years prior to the Trump administration, but now everything has come to a halt. And so this was supposed to be implemented for 90 days to vet the Muslim community prior to entering the United States, and now it's continued for 2.5 years, and it's not being talked about. How is this just? How is this fair? You know, being discriminated against your national origin and your religious beliefs. And I know Fayez has a really heartfelt story. It's really heartbreaking.
Could you share that story with us today?
Oh, yes, of course. Just most recently, dealing with the Muslim ban and how it's really affected the American Muslim community and families being separated with entire seas in front of them, that kind of separation. CAIR Sacramento, most recently, they helped a family get a mother connect with her dying son. So the husband is a U.S. citizen, and he was able to bring his son to the Bay Area to get a surgery done because they were dealing with the life-threatening disease. So when the mother tried to come to the U.S., she was stopped. Really? She was barred from coming to the U.S. to visit her son, who was in the last moments of his life. So because of the pressure we were able to put on this administration and the amount of media we were able to get attention to this case, the media attention we got at the international level also, the Trump administration, after also being sued by CAIR Sacramento, officially allowed the mother to finally see her son before he passed away. This is just one story of many stories of families being separated and not being able to see folks within their families that are passing away or even trying to get married. In Orange County, there's right now a husband and wife who are separated. The wife is right now stuck in Yemen and can't come to visit her husband or officially live together. So these are just some of the realities that we are facing within our community.
And going back to, you said that the family that was separated with the sick child, I heard that the child ended up passing away. Yes,
the child did end up passing away. The mother was able to finally see the child before the child passed away. I think the child passed away just a couple of days after she was able to get into the U.S. But really adding to this concept of how this administration has been targeting not only the American Muslim community, but also immigrant communities in general, we see most recently the rhetoric of the Trump administration, and in particular Trump tweeting out, you know, 4 members of Congress going back to their countries. This is just an old trope that many racists have used historically to really marginalize these communities like ours, and it really goes back to what this administration is about, and this administration is about demonizing people of color and immigrants.
My question is then, you know, there's this whole rhetoric in the media, and the media it's a huge conglomerates. You know, how is it that organizations such as CAIR, We're All America, and CHIRLA, how can we change that rhetoric because this is one story, and it doesn't really get that much media attention, you know? So these things are being silenced. What can we do? How can we educate our community? Where can we go? What can we do?
What we have started to do at CAIR is starting to reach out to media channels or what have you, and getting opportunities to be interviewed at the various stations, whether it's NBC, Fox, or what have you, CNN. And because what's happening right now is the American Muslim community for several decades have had this habit of being isolated and not really getting our story out there. So what we're doing right now is making a concerted effort to get ourselves that representation that historically never been there. So we're now being on those various news channels, whether they are friendly to us or not, because we are on Fox News, the cable channel, right? Which is very unfriendly to the American Muslim community. But many of the executive directors and leaders within CAIR are making a concerted effort to get on those channels, because there are folks that watch Fox News and they're not racist themselves, they're just very ignorant. They are very ignorant. And those individuals that are part of the CAIR family that have gone on Fox News and talked about our issues and just talked about what it means to be an American Muslim have gotten many messages. They've gotten death threats. They've gotten messages that are really abhorrent, but at the same time, they have received messages from viewers of Fox News saying that we are really appreciative for you to come on the Sean Hannity show. This is the first time I've heard a Muslim speak about their faith in this way. I didn't know you were all patriotic and you believed in America and you believed in the Constitution. And actually, many folks, they really changed their entire understanding of what Islam is. And I want to close with this. The census did a study in 2010 in which they found that only roughly 26% of Americans ever met a Muslim in real life. That means 74% of Americans, whether they know or not know, have never met a Muslim in real life. So a lot of the information they're garnering about Islam and the faith and the Muslim community are from the media. And we see that the media has historically demonized the Muslim community, but we're trying to combat that by being in spaces that we have historically not been in.
I think that's really brave of you to walk into that space knowing that you're not always welcome. So thank you so much for the work that you do and that you're sharing the space with us today to talk about these kinds of communities. And we'll be right back, folks, but please stay tuned.
¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos?
So we're back with Anahita and Fayez. Earlier, we were talking about narrative and storytelling. Anahita, can you please tell us a little bit more of what the importance is to positively represent the Muslim community?
Absolutely. I kind of want to emphasize what Fayez mentioned. That was really powerful. I think education is key because so many people are ignorant. And you know, sometimes people don't want to learn, and that's fine. But for the folks that do want to learn, I think it's our duty to educate people, whether it's on media, whether it's going into communities, whether it's going into mosques or temples or churches, in schools. You know, we need to educate our youth. And I think with that is shifting the narrative. So how are we going to shift that narrative? We really need to uplift the voices of those directly impacted. Those are the best ways to really just try to shift that negative portrayal that we have of Muslims, of refugees, of really all immigrant groups. So I think for us as We're All America, we really try to uplift the voices of those impacted, one, by sharing their stories on social media, training them to become community leaders, and then also having them meet with legislators to advocate for legislation that's going to improve their lives. So I think it's really important to get them out there and get them to work to fight for their rights.
Is there something you want to share with the Muslim community and allies?
Absolutely. If regardless of your faith and where you come from, stand up for yourself. If you're too scared to come out, get people to register to vote. Get people just to take action, mobilize, organize, whatever you can do to get your community together to really just bring that solidarity within different immigrant groups.
Yeah, and I want to take the conversation out towards what the government is doing. I understand that there is a program or a bill. I'm not very familiar with it, but I understand what it's trying to do is deter violent extremist groups. However, it is really focusing primarily in the Muslim community. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, I would love to. So one of the things that I tell folks all the time is the targeting of American Muslim community is not new, right? The targeting of the immigrant community is not new. Asylum seekers is not new. DACA recipients is not new. This has been a concerted effort not only during the Republicans' administration, but also when Democrats had their presidential administration. During the Obama administration in 2014, we saw that there was a huge rise of deporting of people, right? And that's why his nickname was Deporter-in-Chief. But in addition to this, he was also targeting the American Muslim community, and he started a program in 2014 called CVE, which meant Countering Violent Extremism. Okay. And what this meant was the administration was giving out monies to community-based organizations that serve the American Muslim community to spy on the Muslim community and to report their findings to the Department of Homeland Security and the administration. So we found this very problematic. So what happened was the program was going on for 2 years, and then Trump's administration came in, and we knew it was all a ruse just to target the Muslim community and marginalize us. But when the Trump administration got into power, what they did was they changed the name from Countering Violent Extremism, which is a very vague term, and turned it into Countering Radical Islamic Extremism, targeting specifically the Muslim community, right? So then that entire program failed epically, right? It completely failed. None of the community members bought in. And now what the administration is doing is they've changed the name to Preventing Violent Extremism, and now they're targeting Muslim, Arab, and African American youth that are going to middle school and high school. And what they are doing to target these students is those children that are really impoverished and those children that are having mental health issues that visit counselors. They want those counselors to send their findings and their interviews with these children to DHS, to Department of Homeland Security. This is a very predatory system, and we see local organizations like the Orange County Human Relations Commission. They are receiving funds over $200,000 to implement this problematic program. And this is why CAIR and our allies are standing up and really telling these organizations to stop using that money and really coming back and standing up for our rights.
I'm going to stop you for a moment right there. We're going to be right back here at CHIRLA TV.
Welcome back to CHIRLA TV. We got off on a really heavy topic, and we want to continue that conversation, but not just letting us know what else it is that we can do to move forward from this, now that we know what is really happening.
So what we are doing right now at CAIR, alongside We Are All America and other community-based organizations, is creating a coalition to meet with the governor's office to make sure that the state of California is divesting from this program. Because currently, CAIR-LA, which is the California Office of Emergency Services, is receiving over $1 million to implement this program, and they've already dedicated this monies to 12 different organizations, and one of them is in Orange County to implement this program. So we want to work with our coalition allies like We Are All America and CHIRLA to make sure that our state divests from these funds.
Absolutely. And we know that Los Angeles Mayor's office denied those funds to support the Muslim community and stand in solidarity. So that's a win in itself.
And the only time we were able to get that the only reason we got that to happen was because of CHIRLA, because of LA Voice, because of We Are All America and our coalition, to put pressure on the mayor to divest from that. Otherwise, he would have taken that money.
Absolutely.
So this is actually being implemented all over the United States. What can organizations and people outside of California do?
So what they can do is really talk to our office or your local CAIR chapter to get informed on whether or not this program is being rolled out in your prospective states.
Absolutely.
And I want to touch really quickly, super quick, on the bills that are being introduced, which include the no travel, to counter the travel ban. What bills are being introduced right now to counter that anti-Muslim rhetoric?
So Representative Judy Chu, who's one of our close allies for the Muslim community and immigrant communities.
She has been in the show, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's introduced HR 810, which is the No Ban Act, which will protect those folks that are from follow different religions or different ethnic backgrounds and different socioeconomic backgrounds, to make sure that everyone has a fair chance to be able to come to the U.S., including getting rid of the travel ban.
Right. Yeah, so it would essentially repeal the Muslim travel ban. It would repeal the now asylum ban that's been implemented at our southern border, and it would repeal any future bans that any future president would like to implement. So this really would just safeguard us from any of these discriminatory laws that are trying to ban immigrants from entering the country, specifically those who are fleeing persecution, violence, and war.
There's also a companion bill in the Senate, and that is Senate Bill 246 with Senator. So it's the same bill, but it's the companion bill in the Senate. So it's the same exact language, but for the Senate.
Okay. Wonderful. And so where can folks go? Your website, let's plug them in so that they know where to go and support.
Yes, so you could visit our website at ca.cair.com/Los Angeles, and you could see all of this information in our different campaigns tab.
Absolutely. And for us with We Are All America, you can look us up on www.weareusa.org. We welcome you to look at the campaigns that are going on and what actions we're taking to advocate for our refugee and immigrant communities.
So make sure to visit the websites and also as well at CHIRLA.org to stay informed. You can always give your support, make a donation, make a contribution, volunteer, keep yourself informed so that we can counteract this anti-Islamic rhetoric and make sure that our brothers and sisters, our whole community, the whole immigrant community, can continue to survive. So thank you both of you for being here in the show. I hope we can have you guys back because it's really solid information what you're sharing. But that's all the time that we have here today. We'll see you next time here at CHIRLA TV.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos?